Talk 1470. WNN.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of the station, its staff, management, or sponsors. Identity theft has been the top consumer complaint filed with the FTC for over 15 years straight. Victims are spending an exorbitant amount of time and money dealing with it. Introducing Cover Your Assets with Nancy O and Harvey Katz. They will bring the latest news on how criminals are getting smarter, and they have the solution to keep them at bay. Nancy and Harvey are informative and will get you motivated to cover your assets. If you want to ask them a question, call into the show at 888-565-1470 and let them get you on the right track in protection. Now, here's Nancy O and Harvey Katz.
Hello, I'm Nancy O, and I'm here with my co-host, Harvey Katz, and together we're going to help you understand how to cover your assets, sponsored by the Harvard Risk Management Corporation. Harvey's background, I'm going to give you a little short overview. He has a tremendous, very impressive background. If you'd like to contact him, you can. He can tell you more extensively about his background. But currently, Harvey holds 2 state licenses in Florida, a 2014 life, including variable annuity insurance, and a 0256 legal expense notice and license. He's currently a member of ICRS, SPE, ACS, and has been a member of other non-professional organizations as Society of Military Engineers and Who's Who in America. He was a board member of the FAU Library and a Shriner in Palm Beach. He started a nonprofit organization called Lights Unto Nations Foundation, Inc. And myself, I have a background in higher education. I've taught preschool to college, and I'm here to inform you and educate you about identity protection. So I welcome you to the show. Harvey?
Yeah, Nancy, this is Harvey speaking. Why don't you give our listeners and friends a little background about Harvard Risk Management and what we do?
Sure, I'd love to do that. Harvard Risk Management is to protect you, your family's finances, and your future. Harvard Risk Management Corporation is the largest broker of legal and identity theft programs in the U.S. We pride ourselves on providing high-quality and affordable services to our customers. For over 2 decades, we have worked hard to find real solutions to real problems facing individuals and families. Identity theft is a real serious problem. We work so hard to establish our identity personally and financially. Your identity is so important to us, and it can be taken away very easily, but we have a solution. Okay. Did you know that every day there are over 4,000 victims of identity theft?
40,000?
40,000, yes.
Wow.
40,000. And identity theft is now ranked the fastest growing crime in America. The average victim spends hundreds of hours in the process of restoring their identity, and very often finds that they can't function properly. They have to spend time out of work. It's a problem really for the family and employers, and it's just takes so much time and so stressful. But we have a solution.
What's that?
Oh, you'll find out soon. You know what it is. We're going to share it with the public. 3.5 million children have already fallen victims to identity theft in the United States, even before they're born. These identity snatchers have a way of finding out their social security numbers and other information before the child is even born.
And how many people, Nancy, do you think really ever check their children's credit scores or their identity to make sure they don't have a score? And they should not have a score. That's one of the big things with children. They have to protect their family today.
Yes. And when they go to, perhaps this has been going on for years, and all of a sudden they're ready to apply for a loan, for college. Or purchase property or something else, and they find
when they go to start life.
And, but we do have a solution.
A good case was when a young boy found out that he had $16,000 worth of credit card debt, and he had a foreclosure on his record. And that next Friday, he was only turning 7 years old.
Oh.
I mean, the family was devastated. The boy was devastated.
Well,
and they had to
boy.
go and hire attorneys to clean up his identity.
And how expensive was that?
It
And
was huge.
There is a solution, so we're going to be going forward so that the people out there are going to know that there's some hope, to protect
Right.
themselves from being victimized. It takes about 60 seconds to find out that you're a victim of identity theft, and an average of hundreds and hundreds of hours to restore your identity. So there's 6 major types of identity theft for your information out there. Many of you know what some of them are. Credit, that's an old one, and driver's license is a big thing, and Social Security, those numbers can cause a lot of trouble for people once they're
They
taken.
can actually make a new person out of you.
Yes, exactly, and actually there are characters out there who are bundling identities and selling them, and for people to either leave the country or come into the country, or it's a business out
Yeah.
there. And then there's medical theft. And tell us about a case that you know.
Oh, a perfect example, a friend of mine, all of a sudden gets in the mail a $2,800 bill for some medical services done at a hospital about 40 miles away. Never went to the hospital, and he didn't have any work done at that hospital. Calls up the billing department and says, I don't owe you this money. They said, well, you better come down
my goodness.
because it's on your record. So the man drives the 40 miles, takes his VA card, he takes his Social Security card, he even takes his Medicare card and his supplemental card, goes to the hospital, talks to the bookkeeping department. They said, well, here, sign the paper. He goes to sign, and they say, oh, guess what? Your signature doesn't match. And according to HIPAA, we can't even talk to you.
That's not
He
fair.
said, but that's why I'm here, because it's not my medical record.
Oh.
He said he had to hire an attorney to fix this bill, but worse than that, the person that went to the hospital had a different blood type.
Oh.
This can be a life-changing,
Of course it
and
is.
if he went to a hospital for an accident and they saw that it was a different blood type, he could actually die from that. So it's a very, very
Of
serious
course
problem.
it is. And then there's the criminal, people are arrested, innocent people, and then the minor
It happens.
identity theft. And only 17% of identity thefts deal with credit cards. I don't know if the public knows that, yet most solutions available in the market today only provide protection and monitoring, of credit.
Right.
I'd like to talk a little bit about ID Shield, okay? It provides the following services for each covered member, and you could go into that a little bit. I'm just giving a little overview, okay?
Okay, sure.
It provides credit analysis, identity consultation services, email notification, quarterly credit score tracker, to
Right.
see if there's any change in the credit of the person individual.
Right.
Service 24/7, 365 emergency access.
Wow.
And the wonderful thing is restoration of, using private investigators, just not, any, but private investigators. That's part of the Kroll Corporation.
They actually assign
Yes.
a private investigator
they
to
do.
restore your identity.
Yes, and data breach notifications.
Wow.
Tell us about that case with the one of the large chain stores.
Well, a lady, and this was done by MSNBC. She was a lady in Chicago, went to get a part-time job. Her child became 6 years old. She wanted to get out of the house, make some extra money.
Yeah.
So she went down to the local Target store. Some people call it Target. But she went there, did an application, and they reviewed her application. And while she was there, they said, why are you applying for a job? You already work here. She said, oh, my God, I don't work here. That's why I'm applying for a job. She says, no, you are working here.
Oh.
It found out later that she only wasn't working there, but she also had jobs in 31 states and had 37 jobs. This caused her whole family havoc because she never reported that income to the IRS. And when the end of the year came, the IRS said, "Where you never reported all this income."
Oh, my goodness.
So she had a major, major problem, and it took her years to clean that up.
Well, it's a very unfortunate thing, and the stress and the pain and time and the finance of the family and that individual. But like I'm saying, there is a solution. So, I'm so sorry when I hear cases like that. We also provide, ID Shield provides payday loan monitoring, minor identity protection, and you know what? Up to $5 million service guarantee. Now, it's great to have, let's look at this as an analogy, a smoke detector in your home, a smoke
Right.
alarm. It's even better to have a fire department, that can put out the fire, and a construction company that can rebuild any damage to your home. The ID Shield provides daily monitoring and complete restoration to your identity. So
That's amazing. That's really
amazing.
great.
And just want to tell you who it's offered by. It's ID Shield out there, folks. It's offered by Crow Fraud Solutions Group. And Crow is the world's largest risk consulting company. It was founded in 1972 by Jules Crow. It's headquartered in New York.
Right.
It operates in 65 cities and 33 countries with over 3,300 employees. Crow maintains a superior expertise in monitoring credit and restoring the lives of identity theft victims. So, it's so comforting to know there's a solution. And for such a small fee, and we'll get into that shortly, your identity is your business. Protecting it is ours.
That's correct. And one of the great things about Kroll is once you have a breach on your identity, all you have to do is call their 1-800 number, and you're assigned to one of their licensed private investigators. You don't have to go through a list of names and say, "Oh my goodness, which one of these people know what they're doing?" And the other thing about Kroll is their investigators are employees. So that's all they do is restore identity. They know all the paperwork. They know the ins and outs with Social Security, the police departments, and all of the other agencies that they contact for you.
By the way, this is so reasonable to be part of this, Identity Shield, ID Shield. How much does it cost, the membership? I mean, it's just...
Well, for a single person,
I know it's very reasonable.
it would only cost $9.95 a month. And that includes everything that we've been mentioning, including your restoration. For a family, which means you, your spouse, or your partner, and up to 8 kids, a family of 10 is covered for only a cost of $19.95 for the entire family. And the great thing is there's no long-term contracts assigned. We can go over the ID Shield coverage in a little more detail after our commercial break.
Well, before we go to our commercial break, I want to ask you, I'm sure that I'm asking for the benefit of the audience listening in. Harvey, will you be providing financial or legal advice to our listeners?
Not on this show. I am not a certified financial planner or an attorney. What I am a certified risk management consultant with Harvard Risk Management, and have 2 licenses, as you mentioned before, one selling legal service and the other, 214, selling life, universal, and annuity insurance. We're here to discuss the protection of what you already own, your major asset, which is your identity.
Well, everyone is talking about ID theft these days and all the problems that it entails. And it is a crime. It's a sad shame. It's a crime. What can you tell us about this crime, and how can a person protect themselves from this horrific crime that, we work so hard to have our assets, and, we're here to
And your name.
and take pride in what we do, and it's
and-
something we work for our whole lives, and then all of a sudden it can be, but, I think I understand that if you don't have this insurance before, this protection, if it happens and you call up, it's too late. So you need
Yes.
to protect by having it. I suggest our listeners look into this now before something happens. Not to wait till later, otherwise they're going to be stuck.
Yes.
Doing the research and hiring an attorney, which is so expensive. Who can afford it?
Yeah, and
time out of work with worries.
Yep.
The
exactly.
security, knowing you're protected with ID.
It's called peace
Shoot.
of mind.
Peace of mind, and it's worth a small amount of
Oh,
money.
it sure is.
I couldn't believe when you're telling me for the whole family.
That's
it's,
all.
How many? Up to 10 people?
Up to 10 people.
Oh my gosh!
Yeah,
that's
it's amazing. It really is.
Oh, it's worth it. I spend, I don't have 10 people in my family, but I spend $9.95 very easily. Just the cost of a lipstick. My lipstick is $15.
Yeah, you're talking less than 30 cents a day,
Yes.
33 cents a
Isn't that
day.
something?
And for a family, it's less.
Yeah, we have money for
it's
Starbucks
less
and all
than
these
a
other
bottle
things.
of water
Yeah.
a day. I mean, this is protection that the
Actually.
entire family does need.
And this problem is more and more now with all the situations in the economy. People want to, have other
Yeah.
people's identity for their benefit.
Right.
Okay? And leaving the country, sometimes coming into the country,
Exactly.
buying a home with somebody's credit. Oh, I'm looking at the time now. It's about time soon for a commercial.
Right.
And
one of the best ways of protecting is subscribing to a program that not only monitors your credit report. There's a number of programs out there like that, but monitors your personal identity as well. Monitoring is not enough, though. The restoration is a key component to all identity theft. Having the expert at ID Shields is by far the most robust and affordable membership available in the marketplace today. Identity theft is a protection for an entire family, including the minors, at the family rate of only $19.95. Now that's providing a peace of mind for our clients.
Harvey, we could go over this ID coverage in more detail after a commercial break. I think we're going to soon have
Right.
one.
But let me explain a few things. The going over the finances, as you said earlier, is only 17% of the ID, and the other part of this is Social Security, which is a major problem today.
Okay. And the driver's license?
The driver's license. An example of a driver's license is a lady who had 2 kids, nurse pulled over for a speeding ticket, got arrested, and she said, "What for?" She said, "I understand I was speeding. Give me the ticket." He said, "No, we checked your license, and you have a warrant out for your arrest for dealing cocaine and missing a court appearance."
And this the criminal and minor?
Yeah,
Okay.
they used her driver's license
Oh, my goodness.
as for the criminal effect, and she was in jail 3 days before they did the fingerprints. Came back showing that she was not that person. The police said they would clear up her identity. Well, they did it in that particular precinct, but she, over the next 2 years, she was arrested 7 times.
Oh, my goodness. That's
And
so
one
sad.
time was with her child in the car.
Oh, gosh.
It's a violation of one's
Of course.
person.
But there is, we can be protected. There is a solution. But let's take a break.
Yes.
Okay? Thank you. We'll be
Perfect.
back.
Legal Shield has provided legal protection to millions of people for over 40 years. We monitor your identity from every angle, not just your social security number, credit cards, and bank accounts. We ensure everything connected to you is safe. ID Shield is the only company with an exclusive partnership with Kroll, the worldwide leader in theft investigative services. If a compromise occurs, contact your licensed private investigator who will immediately begin to restore your identity to exactly the way it was. For more information, call Harvey Katz, a certified risk management consultant, at 561-441-4600. 4885 and get started on protection right away. You can visit his website at coveryourassets.tv for more information. Call today, 564-441-4885, and let Harvey help you cover your assets. You are listening to Cover Your Assets with Nancy O. and Harvey Katz. If you want more information, visit coveryourassets.tv and watch all prior shows there. All information on the products will be highlighted on the website. Now, let's get back to the show.
Welcome back to the show. And now let's return to our subject where the break, right after this break, and we had. And I'd like to tell you a little bit more about ID theft. The Federal Trade Commission reports that identity theft has been our number one consumer complaint for over 15 years, and that is according to the Federal Trade Commission, United States Trade Commission. Over 512 Americans have lost their identity and are reported being stolen since January 2005. That came from privacy or vacancy.org. Over 400. This is amazing fact. Over 400,000 dead people opened bank accounts last year alone. That came from the AARP, by the way, and I thought that ended with the when Mayor Daley passed away. The revenue from trafficking of financial data has surpassed that of drug trafficking, and that came from the Secret Service. And nowadays, the biggest one is the identity of children. Over 3.5 million children last year have lost their identity. Identity theft posed to increase by a factor of 20 in the next 2 years. The criminals today are still trying to figure out what to do with all the data that they have.
Okay.
They're currently, we repeated this a couple of times now, but 40,000 people a day are victims of identity theft. I don't know if you know, Nancy, but there are three times more likely to have your identity stolen than you are to have your house or your car broken into. And these facts are just unbelievable. Well, another fact is that the average dollar amount charged in identity theft is over $92,000. The average time it takes by a victim to restore their identity is over between 147 and 607 hours. And most of the identity theft, again, are non-credit related. You can have a bank or somebody or your credit card tell you that it's your credit, and they'll take care of the cost.
Yes, tell us about the different types of services ID Shield covers. You're saying the credit analysis?
It does the credid analysis. ID Shield also has a consultant service. They would like you to call to check your consult with them about your identity. See with the call up Kroll and your investigator to make sure your credit's fine.
Mm-hmm.
Also, quarterly credit tracker. If something happens to your credit or your credit score, they were going to let you know that somebody tried to use your credit and went to buy a purchase on another home or that type of situation. It's so important to be able to talk to somebody 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and 365 days a year in case something does happen. If you're out of town on a holiday, it's great to know that somebody was there to help you. And the biggest thing, again, is the restoration of your identity by a licensed Kroll private investigator whose job it is to restore your identity to where it was before, no matter how much it costs or how long it takes. they're going to go back and restore your credit.
Well, I would like to know for the audience out there, how does a person know whether their ID has been breached?
There are several ways.
How does a person know
on
that?
an average, first of all, a bank will notify you immediately if they think of a fraudulent charge.
Well, my bank notifies me anyway with my credit cards, but what else do they do?
That's about it. They will cover the costs if they wrote a check or your credit card, they use that for that. They will eat that, but they do not do anything else.
That's the difference.
That is a big difference.
That is.
At that moment, call the 1-800 number for identity theft and Crow, and you get that investigator immediately to start opening up a file for you.
Right. Actually, do you want to tell the audience and our friends out there where they can find more information?
Sure.
A website that they could go to?
Sure. We have a 800 number. It's 888-565-1470. Or they can go to our website, which is ID Shield.
Cover Your Assets?
CoverYourAssets.com.
.tv?
.tv. Thank you
So
very much. That's our new website.
Cover Your Assets. It's right there on the screen.
Yes.
.tv. And that's where they can, if they would like to call you personally, what number should they call you at?
This 800 number will take you right to my phone. It's 800
and we'll get
again.
back to each person.
565-1470.
Okay. Are there any questions out there that anybody would like to call in? We have a couple of minutes.
Please call in if you have any questions
We'll be
about
happy to take it.
your
We have
identity.
just a couple of minutes.
And we'll be glad to answer them. Since we haven't a call right this minute, I'll be glad to tell you there are just so many different type of stories with identity stuff. There was a person who was driving home, got pulled over, and they arrested him because, again, he didn't show up for a trial. He had a warrant out for his arrest, and guess what? It wasn't him. And, that happens every day. And if you don't have the right protection, it's not going to happen.
Well, once again, the price to be able to be participating in the program and membership is $9.95 for a person individual, and for a family, $19.95. Up to 10 people in a family. Oh, that's unbelievable, and it's amazing, and peace of mind is worth it. And once, that has been established, a person's a member, they can feel safe, protected.
Exactly.
And go on their way. But if something happens, you just can't buy it afterwards. It has to be done before, so.
Right. And just remember, next Tuesday, our show, we're going to discuss the 12th step to protect your identity and its companion legal shield and how it works.
Thanks. Friends, do please come back and listen next week. We'd love to speak with you, and go to our site. Go to CoverYourAssets.tv. Ciao.
You have been listening to Cover Your Assets, where your hosts, Nancy O. and Harvey Katz, have shown you how to protect yourself in today's world. If you would like to send questions or comments, visit the chat room at CoverYourAssets.tv and perhaps have it read on the air. Thanks for listening and watching today, and we will see you next week with more Cover Your Assets.